He's coming out of his lobster suit. Hi, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan Corgi in his lobster costume, and this is an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And today we're going to talk about costumes for dogs because Halloween is coming up, and I'm sure there are people out there who think about bringing their dog trick-or-treating with their child. Not a good idea. Too much excitement, too much possibility of losing the dog, and certainly there's many Halloween parades around for kids in their costumes. Not a good place to bring the dog because you just don't know what's going to happen. Dogs deserve a little peace and quiet. But there are many dog Halloween parties at doggy daycares, at dog training schools. Some people just have them at their homes, like I used to. And there's Corgi picnics where you get to dress in a costume. So Tristan is wearing his lobster costume from last year. You can see he's really cute. He's got lobster claws and it's got these lobstery eyeballs. And of course, this costume was just, one I picked up somewhere at a pet expo. And he just looked really cute in it, so I got it. And then the trick is when you buy a costume like this to accessorize it in a way that makes it yours. And that's not always easy for me to figure out, or anyone else for that matter, believe me, because there are costume contests all across the country for dogs. And of course, so many of these costumes are cute. They have the ones where the front legs of the dog look like human legs, and then they've got arms hanging off, and so many ideas that people have had personally, like just putting a lion mane on a golden retriever or a yellow lab to make him look like a lion, has certainly taken off, and now you can buy lion manes and things everywhere. The trick with dog costumes is to keep your dog safe and happy in the costume. So to that end, I really, really, really heartily recommend going to one of the big pet stores that are everywhere, the commercial, national ones, and getting a costume there. It's going to be made to fit your dog. It's going to be comfortable for your dog. There's plenty of clearance in this lobster suit if we have to do some business. It's held on with Velcro, so it fits him comfortably no matter what happens. It's got the cute little lobster tail. He's also got a skunk costume that's super cute that comes all the way over him and has a long tail, which he likes. As a dog without a tail, he really appreciates having that skunky tail on him. So I highly recommend getting a dog costume. One of the things I've seen, and we used to do this with T-Touch, people will put like a kid t-shirt on a dog, but they don't adjust it correctly, and it's not a size that fits the dog. So a kid t-shirt, unless it's a little teeny toddler, is not going to fit Tristan no matter what I do. So one of the things that we do is put the t-shirt on the dog and then tie a knot up here to keep it out of his bottom half so that he can move his hind legs. Some of the things that happen with a t-shirt on the dog is that the hind legs walk up into the t-shirt and then strangle the dog from the front. The sleeves hang down, the dog walks out of the sleeves, the paws get stuck in the sleeves are too tight and the dog can't move his front legs. All of these things are problems with using a t-shirt for a kid on a dog, and it is not a good idea to do that. I've seen many dogs just really suffering trying to walk and sit and move in a kid t-shirt. And you wouldn't think that would be such a big leap to put a kid t-shirt on a dog, but if you don't know how to do it properly and don't have some scissors ready and be willing to start making big adjustments, that t-shirt is never going to be comfortable for your dog. Now this is something Tristan has with this lobster suit, which is why we're wearing it today. He likes to have his ears out. His ears stick up, and though he's okay with me tucking them in for a little bit of a walk on the catwalk in his lobster costume, for the long run, he really likes to have his ears out. So that's another thing to think about. I mean, if you've got a Cocker Spaniel and they have long ears, their ears are going to get caught possibly in the Velcro on the front strap. You got to really look at that to make sure your dog is comfortable in that way, and make sure the costume's not too hot. This one, could be hot if he wasn't a pretty cold dog to start with. Today, his ears are not too warm. But if he had to wear this indoors and he was running around, he would get very hot. Another thing is, I saw this every year, we see this at the Corgi picnic, and there are some dogs that are fine, but people put their dogs in the costume and let them run around and play, which is really cute. However, not all costumes fit the dogs that well, and they get all tangled up, or another dog gets caught in the costume, and then you got a problem. So if your dog's going to be running in his costume, you're really looking for different things than if he's just walking around So with Tristan in this costume, one of the things that made it a prize-winning costume, I mean, he won a lot of prizes in this costume, was that when I was visiting my sister, she has a lobster pot, a big one. I think they got it at a tag sale, and it came from TJ Maxx initially because I managed to find one like it eventually. But I borrowed the lobster pot to take Tristan to the Philly Corgi picnic dressed in his lobster suit, and he fit perfectly in the lobster pot. Being a little 19-pound boy, and he sat up in there with his front paws sticking out, and of course I had a chef hat and everything, and a really beat up spoon that had chew marks all over it from being caught in the blender, a wooden spoon, which was perfect when you're trying to cook a lobster. So that costume worked out really well, but it wasn't just because he was cute in his lobster suit, it was the rest of the costume that went with it. For instance, with his skunk costume, he has flowers he wears around his neck. I have some flowers that I carry. I have some really cheap stinky perfume that I put on the costume. More recently, I've been putting lavender oil on it, a lot of lavender oil, so that he smells lavendery, because I realized the cheap perfume was not only offensive to him, but all the dogs in the area. And when we're at these dog shows, that's not a great thing to do. The lavender actually relaxes the dogs, and it's not too offensive to Tristan for 15 minutes to be a lavender skunk. So think about things like that, like how to enhance the costume that you buy. I know when I was a kid and we used to dress our horses up all the time, we won lots of prizes for elaborate costumes for our horses. I don't know where we get this from. My mom decorating her kindergarten and first grade and second grade rooms for the students to come back. We are big decorators of the animals, but we've learned over the years how to do that in a way that's respectful to the animal. I've learned recently there are certain costumes that are more laughable than cute. And that is not fair to the dog, unless the dog is like a big fun lab that's got a bunch of little kids in the house and he's used to laughing. Tristan does not like to be laughed at, and so I had him in a costume this spring, and somebody made fun of him in it, and then the whole group was laughing, and everything he did after that, they were laughing, and he was really unhappy. I could not get that costume off of him quick enough and put him in his box with enough treats quick enough because he was embarrassed, and it's not fair to do that to him. I mean, yes, he's cute, and some people might laugh at him in his lobster suit, but, you know, he's used to being cute. Cute is not a problem for him. And he's been wearing costumes since he was a wee little baby. I mean, when I first got him, what was he? I don't know, 3 or 4 months old. He was teeny weeny, and I put him in a tiny, tiny little doll carriage and had Comet push it with him in it and dressed Comet as an old lady and Tristan as a baby in a onesie, and he was fine. I mean, and onesies actually often do fit dogs if you've got the right shaped dog and your dog is little, like a little chihuahua or something. So those kind of costumes are good. But and also in general, if you are taking your dog out on Halloween, make sure you have something reflective on them. They make really good reflective collars now. You can even buy Velcro reflective tape to stick on parts of your dog. On my hot dog costume, it has a little flap in the back that says bun length Oscar Mayer wieners. It's from a package of hot dogs, and it's got reflective tape under that just in case my dog happens to be out in the evening in that costume. And I think that was one of the first really big dog costumes I made. And of course now there's hot dog costumes in every store. Mine's still better. I have beautifully spray painted buns and relish in mine. They don't all come with that now. And it fits these little corgis I've had perfectly. So costumes can be really fun for your dog, but make sure your dog is comfortable in the costume. Make sure he's not too hot. Make sure he can walk, stretch, turn around, lay down in the costume. They make really fun collar bands now that you can just put on your dog for Halloween. I think we have one here. Oh, I have a couple here. You know, this one's got little pink flowers on it. And this one, of course, is our favorite blue and purple one with sparkles. Those can be fun. Any dog can wear those and feel pretty comfortable. Do be aware that the doodads on them come off. I have a Halloween one with pumpkins on it. It's black and orange, and you know, being an orange corgi, he looks pretty cute in it. So just something simple like that can be good if you're just having a couple people over and your dog's going to be around. Tristan, of course, goes to work with me, so he wears things like that when we're going to work, or just a bandana is very comfortable for your dog, and you can buy tons of bandanas now. The groomers are not the only ones giving those away. Well, now you have to pay for them, but you can go to many dog stores and find really cute Halloween and Thanksgiving bandanas, Christmas, every holiday, Hanukkah. Tristan has a Hanukkah one. So you can, dress them really simply and still have the spirit of the season, even if your dog doesn't really like wearing a lobster suit. So be careful with your dogs with costumes, and watch out for the other dogs in costumes. I have always had this idea of doing a blog, like a video blog of random acts of kindness for dogs, and rewarding people who are doing great things for their dogs, walking in a good harness, and then helping people who have problems with their dogs, because often they don't know. Of course, sometimes they don't want the help and they think you're a weirdo, but and I've had that happen to me many times. But most people, if you walk up to them with a question and say, is your dog comfortable with that, with his hind legs walking up inside that t-shirt? And they'll say, oh my God, I didn't even know it was happening. And then you can say, well, here's what I suggest. Why don't we just tie a knot on each side of the t-shirt to kind of pull it up, so that the dog can make it through the night without making the person feel bad. And I do recommend 2 knots in the t-shirt if it's really big, because 1 knot on the back sitting sideways all night can get your dog in a real need of a chiropractor. So try to help dogs that you see that are struggling with their costumes. I know a lot of towns have like this trunk or treat things. There's usually dogs there, either with the parents handing out the treats. I mean, some places don't allow the dogs to be there. But sometimes kids, like, when we were little, we wanted our dogs to be part of our costumes. And gosh, the neighbor's got a Cairn Terrier. I so want to dress as Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz and carry that little cutie around with me sometime. But Coco is super friendly, and I don't think she'd stay in a picnic basket for 5 minutes without leaving. And, I'd need a whole entourage to have the rest of the cast of the Wizard of Oz with me. And I've seen people do that. So, you've got to find something that your dog likes to do and is comfortable in. And really, I can't say enough about these costumes that you can buy either online or in a big pet store, because they are made to fit the dog, and the dog is going to be comfortable in it. And also, it's a good idea to wash your dog up before you put him in the costume, because I have some very old costumes that many of my dogs have worn when they weren't clean. And boy, do they get stinky, and boy, is it hard to clean them. It's a serious situation when you've got to hand wash a lobster costume or something, and the red's gonna bleed onto the white. This one I haven't had to do that with, but one of my old cowboy dog costumes, whew, that needed some serious soaking. So make sure your dog's clean before you put the costumes on them, because that will preserve the life of your costume. And remember, dogs grow and change sizes as they age. All dogs are kind of scrawny and little when they're 2, and then as they age, they get wider and bigger, and so your old costume might not fit. Another little note, if you're getting a really inexpensive costume online, some of them have ties that go under the dog and in the front instead of the Velcro. You've got to be careful how you do those up. You don't want the bows to be getting caught in the hind legs. So I recommend using some kind of tape or something, or just making the knot in a way that the dog's paws can't get stuck in it, especially the front one, because a half-on costume not only can be stressful for the dog, but it can also be dangerous and injure him. So, try to get the ones with the Velcros. If you're at all handy, now you can buy Velcro you can just stick on, and that's helpful, because when you're trying to spoof up a dog costume and make it a little nicer, that can be better than trying to sew, although God knows I'm not a good sewer, but I have sewed and stapled my way through many a costume. Angelica says Tristan looks cute. He's a cute lobster. Let's tuck your ears back in for a minute. There he is, Tristan the Lobster. He's pretty famous. They've made is it an Instagram? I did an Instagram post of him, and so now the artists that steal things have put Tristan in his lobster costume on a blanket and on some pants and on a coloring book. There's a lot of things that have Tristan in his lobster costume. So yeah, he's a cute lobster. I posted a picture of him from last year on the page where we do the Corgi picnics in costume, and one of the ladies wrote, "Oh, get that baby some butter and corn on the cob." I was like, no Corgis will be eaten in a lobster costume. So everybody have fun with your dogs and their costumes for Halloween. I mean, it is really fun, even if you're just dressing them up for your family. If your dog likes it. If your dog doesn't like it, it's not fun for anybody. And that's when you resort to the little neckerchief things and the little cute things that just go around their neck, because most dogs are tolerant of that. So make it fun for your dog and fun for you, because if it's not fun for both of you, it's not fun. Thanks for joining us. I'm at my educator job Wednesday and Thursday. I feel as I have something Friday, but I don't know. But we'll try to do an episode on Friday. So keep your dog safe for Halloween. And we will talk to you soon. Everybody have a great day.